2, 1 e showtime! Ciao a tutti, hello everybody! Buongiorno, buonasera, wherever you are. Here in Florence, in Firenze, it's 9 p.m. So for us, it's notte. So buonasera.
Welcome to my kitchen. This is Mauro, Alessandro, Sharon, and today we're going to make a very ancient dish with ancient history. And we hope they're not ancient chicken livers because we got them fresh at the market.
Freshest.
But here we go. Crostini ai fegatini.
Ho detto crostino toscano. Okay, here in Florence it's a must to eat crostino toscano as an appetizer. Just a crostino toscano. Just on the plate, a piece of bread with this chicken liver pate.
In fact, you can really judge the quality of a restaurant by the way they make their crostino.
There's no good crostino toscano, it's not a good start.
Yeah.
So right now Mauro is going to go behind the camera and me and my mom are going to be here in Florence tonight for crostino toscano.
Bye.
All right.
So we're going to start with obviously the ingredients. So first thing, chicken livers.
Chicken livers, disgusting chicken livers, but once they're cooked, is the best taste ever.
And I just want to say, for those who have looked at the recipe, we're doing a double recipe because Alessandro wants to bring home some too.
For my kids and my wife watching right now. So.
Anyway, chicken livers, chopped onion.
Cipolla rossa, chopped onion.
Well, actually it should be yellow onion, but I had red onions, so we're doing red onions.
From?
Tropea. This is the last of the fresh Tropea onions. I can't live without them. Some capers.
Capperi.
Fillets of anchovies.
Acciughe.
I have like a tiny bit of tomato paste. This gives it a slight red hue to it. Then, of course, butter.
Burro. We have it.
We need oil for the bread.
Extra virgin olive oil, mi raccomando, extra virgin olive oil.
Little bit of broth. You might need it, you might not. Better to have it.
Il brodo.
Vin Santo.
Vin Santo is a special, very...
I'm tempted to taste it. Anyway.
Very, very sweet wine. Very good.
It's a sweet wine made out of grapes that are left to dry in big rooms so they get like raisins, and then you do the vinificazione, the wine process. And Tuscan bread.
Pane, my favorite thing is pane, bread, Toscano, okay?
And a little bit of orange for the end.
That's a special touch. So now it's time
We're gonna go over there
to cook this beautiful sauce. So right now these ingredients, they don't look that inviting, but trust me, after the dish is made, they're gonna look so fancy, okay? So right now, I would like to give a little chop to the chicken livers. And the reason why I do that, no, faccio il coltello. The reason why I do that,
but I'm just going to give you this because we don't want it on the
splashy
for the bacteria.
So the reason I'm gonna do a little chopping of the. Got it?
That's a big one. There you go.
This is good. Okay, so now I'm going to chop a little bit of the chicken livers just to make the whole procedure quicker. Okay, so proceed. If you have a food processor, it's even better. It's like, very body, but it works out. This way is the old-fashioned way. Tagliato al coltello, the old-fashioned way that you do it.
Well, I usually don't interrupt and correct somebody, but
saying if you're scared of knives, you want to be more practical. But this way, the meat is cut, is going to cook better. Not too much, maybe we can turn like this, and then we go this way. All right, that's it. Too much noise. So at this point, we have the chicken. Livers already nice and smashed. It's time to go to the stove and cook. Okay, Mama?
And I'll bring you the things over while for you, so it's easy.
I have the best assistant ever. Superstar Mama. Allora, let's go. So
Okay.
I'll bring the extra virgin olive
No,
oil.
we'll bring the butter first.
I've got the bit before. Okay. Andiamo.
Okay. So here we go. Over there, Mauro is trying to get us in there. Here's a knife. You can put a big piece of butter in the pan.
Allora, first thing, of course, when you want to cook, it's to turn on the fire. So let's turn on the fire. Right here, we're using this skillet. This size skillet is going to work out for about 1 pound of chicken livers. Alright, I'm going to start with a tiny bit, but a good amount of butter in the pan. Alright? We love to make noise here. Okay, now it's time to go for the onions. Cipolle, rosse tagliate a fine. Eccolo qua. I'm gonna give a little turn to the butter.
Maybe just a little bit more.
Alright, Mama wants to put more butter, and I have to agree with her because the taste at the end is really incredible. So now let's go and put the onions inside, okay? Eccolo qua, Mama. And the onions are starting to cook. So what we want to do is to make these onions nice and soft, okay? So a little bit of the fire to make the action, okay? In the meanwhile, if Mama has a lot of history and food, she can entertain you with these magical stories about the Crostino Toscano.
Well, the Crostini Toscani do have a very long history. And we go right back to the ancients. We go right back to the Egyptians, where the Egyptians, at least 4,500 years ago, figured out a way how to fatten up their birds. When they fattened up the birds, the liver got fatter. When the liver is fatter, it's more tender. And this became a delicacy. Then, of course, in the Phoenician, Etruscan, Roman banquets, all these little sauces were served with pieces of bread. Big platter of the sauces and little pieces of bread. And thus the crostini was born. In the banquets of many of the ancients, my favorite people, they have to be the Etruscans. Now, let's say the ancient Romans and the Greeks did not allow their women, their spouses, to participate in banquets. No, 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 no. Only the Etruscans, who were a little bit more free with their women, would let their women participate in the banquets. And then going back to the Etruscans, liver was not only for a foodstuff, it was also used in a divinatory art, the aruspices, coming from the word ar, which is liver, and spicio, to look at, because the art of divination, they would look at these big livers and sort of this esoteric way of finding the future. Now, I don't know if our wants to go in right now.
I'm going to just interrupt you to want to show you the onions, and the smell of the onions is so good right now in this house. And we're going to add now the sage that we didn't mention in the ingredients, but it was in front of us. And the sage, so good. The sage, it's like, the aromatic herbs that goes inside the fegatino. So let's add the herbs, the sage. Nice, beautiful leaves of sage grown from Mauro on the balcony. All right, so at this point, I like to put the anchovies to start cooking inside the sauce. Okay, so I put the sage, the anchovies, okay? Now I'm gonna put the capers, the capperi. Here we go. Belli abbondanti capers, very, very salty, but very, very tasty, and specific for this kind of dishes where you don't add a lot of salt, you use anchovies and capers to soy. And at this point, we're gonna add the chicken liver to the pot. And here they are, the chicken livers that we cooked before. Eccoli qua, forza, forza ragazzi, andiamo, let's go. Eccolo, guarda, guarda là, bello, bello. All right, all the chicken.
And a tiny bit of tomato paste.
So we add also the tomato paste. Tiny bit. It's a special, almost ingredient secret, okay?
And if you need it for later, there's some broth.
All right, right now we gotta put the fire a little bit back on to high heat. We're gonna mix the whole thing as much we can. See, it's very nice. And we're gonna let cook for about 5 minutes. Then we're gonna splash with the vin santo, and if we need, we're gonna add the broth. So while in the meantime, while the meat is cooking, my mom will finish the interesting story because there's more. All right, go back to Mama, the historians.
So of course there's more because it never ends. And so speaking of the divinatory art of the Etruscans, these people were called haruspecs. Now the harus species, they weren't officially recognized in ancient Rome because the Etruscans were considered foreigners. But we have proof that right up until 408 to be precise, of the Christian era, that these harus species were used. In fact, when the Visigoths attacked Rome under Alarico I, the Etruscan haruspices were said to hurl down threats of lightning striking the troops of Alarico, and even Julius Caesar's spiritual advisor, with Spurina, anything with a double N and an A at the end is sort of Etruscan. Anyway, he was said to have predicted the fateful end of Julius Caesar. But anyway, going back to the crostini. The crostini were used widely in the ancient world. Then during the Middle Ages, they sort of lost in favorites between the people. Somehow people weren't eating them anymore. Then in the Renaissance, where all of the ancient authors, ancient books were coming back, the author of cookbooks, the Roman author of cookbooks, Aspesius, was rediscovered, so to say. In monasteries, they hadn't had his works for centuries, but they rediscovered, and there is a recipe for Aspesius with the chicken livers. It was made from chicken livers that the chicken had been fed figs to get really nice and fat. And in fact, fegato, the word for liver in Italian today, is from the word figs because it was associated with it. And then that became a really big thing again, the crostini neri, as the crostini Toscani would call, black crostini. In fact, we have Pope Pius V would get his livers from the Jewish ghetto in Venice by a producer who made really nice fat chicken and goose livers. Anyway, there's various ways to proceed. let's say in Pisa, in Tuscany, in Pisa, they don't use the chicken livers. They use simply ground meat. So you could use ground meat to make your own chicken liver pate without the chicken livers, just the crostini. Then in the area around Siena, they use spleen. Sounds really disgusting, but spleen maybe makes the best crostino nero in absolute. It's very flavorful, very tender to make. It's a kind of speciality. Anyway, Alessandro, how are we doing over there?
Well, I was with you and with the stories, but I was cooking. No, I mean it's so nice because every time I'm doing this Zoom classes with my mom, I learn things. So it's like I feel like with you guys that you're learning. And now I want to show you what I did here on the stove. Come on, follow me. All right, as you see here, I have the chicken liver that it's cooking nicely and even, all right? The color has changed from bloody, red, bloody, to nice and brown. So I think that we are going to put the wine inside. But before to do that, we have to add a little bit of salt. Even if we put some anchovies and some capers for saltiness, we still need to add some more because we have a big amount of chicken liver inside. All right, so. C'è la mamma, ci siamo, eh? Parla mamma.
There we
Ti
go.
sentano?
Yeah.
Ti sentano.
I'm just going to pass the crostini, the liver mixture, through the food mill while Alessandro prepares the bread.
All right, so here for the bread, I want to do something special. I'm not going to toast it inside the oven, but I'm going back to the stove and I'm going to use just a little bit of extra virgin olive oil to toast my breads. Okay? So while mommy is working with her arm, we go back to the stove. And this time I'm going to bring my extra virgin olive oil. Here we go.
Okay.
So then, Mauro.
You know, Alessandro, before you start that, if you could get me a spoon, right?
Sure.
Very good.
Like a wood spoon or regular spoon?
No, regular spoon.
Eccoli qua, abbiamo tutto, we have the whole perfect kitchen, spoon for mama. Ecco.
Thank you so much.
So we back here to the stove, and I have this pan that I'm gonna use to toast the bread. So I'm gonna put some extra virgin olive oil, just like much, not too much. And of course, turn the fire on. Okay, so fire, pan, extra virgin olive oil. And what I'm gonna do now, I'm gonna place the bread like this. I wanna be sure that every single piece of the bread gets the oil underneath. So what is gonna happen, the oil is gonna make the frying effect. So this is technically called pane fritto, fried bread. And since we love fried bread, we're gonna move more oil. Here we go. Okay, so we're gonna use the tongs to flip the bread. So what is my technique to toast the bread on the pan? Only do one side. Don't toast both of the sides because it might come up too dry, the piece of toast. So by toasting or frying only one side of the bread, I have one texture on one side and I have a soft texture on the other side. So crunchy and soft, and we're gonna use the soft part of the bread to place the sauce on it, the figatino. Okay, so you see here, the bread is starting, come si dice, as you say, to sing, to make noise, to bubble. Okay, so let's put it back here. Here I have my nice tray.
Olive wood.
Tutto di legno, olive wood, where I'm gonna place my crostini. All right, let's see. A little bit more. Not too much, because once they start to fry, they're gonna go up fast. So you gotta be there at the right time. We want to achieve a nice golden brown side when we're deep frying the bread. And this, by the way, is un pane integrale, so it's a whole wheat bread, and it's already nice and brown. So you see here how it has to be like nice and brown, gold, but not too dry. So the crostini are ready to be placed on the tray. Let's put fire. Ok, so mettiamo i crostini. Belli. Nice. Vassoio di crostini, una vassoiata di crostini. Oh. Usually crostini are eaten for any kind of family lunches Sunday, or like they say Natale for Christmas. They are like, you know, a dish that must be on the plate of this occasion when all the families are united. Okay, go. Alright, so eccolo qua. Ora we're gonna fill this bread. Questo lo prendo io.
So wait a second, you just scrape down the last juicy bits, and if I could have a knife as
Un
well,
bel coltello per la mamma.
normal knife,
Normal knife for mamma.
at the end, as we stir the liquid into the thing, we're going to add another nice piece of butter.
Oh my god, mamma, il burro proprio,
Well,
lo batte.
that's the way you do it.
Bravo, guarda, buonissimo. I
And,
can't wait.
and speaking of the bread, there are another two ways of doing it. A very old-fashioned way is dipping the bread into broth, and that makes a soft crostini. That was especially for Christmases when a lot of old people who didn't have any teeth were around.
They cannot chew it, you know, so they need soft.
And there we go. To you, the honor. Look at this.
Well, you see, it's only half an hour, not like 20 minutes, and we made so much spreadable chicken liver that you can put in the fridge, store it, and eat it anytime you want.
Yeah, it will last. You can even use the knife if you want.
So I have the honor now of spreading the bread. Partiamo. Ok, primo eccolo là. So we want like a lot of crostini sauce on it. We want, you know, when you go to a restaurant and they spread the crostino sauce so thin, like almost without any consistency. It's just like, you know, they flavor it. And you get upset because you want to eat the chicken liver. You know, you don't want the taste of it, you want to eat it. Guarda belli. Ecco i nostri crostini. So, look how much left I have. So much left.
That's for Niccolo and
This is for my wife and my kids when I come back for tomorrow, okay? Wait for me.
Last.
All right, now we have the last touch that it's orange peel. And we use a microplane because we just want to have the outer side of the peel, the other white side, because it's very, very big. So right now what I'm gonna do, I'm just gonna sprinkle the crostini with some of this flavor. And while I'm doing this, it's almost invisible, but the oils of the skin and also little pieces of the skin,
It sort of penetrates.
they're getting there. And this is not like, let's say, traditional.
This is how it sounds.
This is my twist. So Mauro, put the camera back there and come with us to eat our meal, the crostino al fegatino.
Okay,
Vieni,
now over
vieni.
here, Mauro, I'll put the room over here.
Vai, vieni a mangiare Mauro, vai. Oh, ragazzi, eccolo, c'è anche Mauro. Ciao. Allora, questi sono crostini, these are crostini toscani.
Crostini Toscani.
Mangiamoli, let's try them and let's make you jealous because you can't taste it as us. But if you follow all the steps, you can make at your home and it's only 20 minutes.
Very easy. And in the fridge, this will keep for at least 4 or 5 days.
Ce l'hai due fazzolettini?
Yes.
Yes, we do.
Dai, facciamo le cose per bene. Vai.
Take it this way.
Grande Nicco, ci vede, arriva Crostini per Niccolò stasera.
And
Vai, I'm gonna get the biggest of all.
oh, well, why am I surprised?
Ok. Bene, eccolo qua, ladies first, vai, prima le donne, ladies first.
Okay,
Vai,
got it.
andiamo. Allora, facciamo un brindisi, un cin-cin. Cin-cin per Crostino. Cin-cin al Crostino.
Buono.
Buono, we are not lying.
Troppo buono.
Molto molto buono, è venuto benissimo. Perfect recipe. Always like, you know, a pleasure with Mama because she is a big mastermind behind all these recipes.
Well, I wouldn't say mastermind, I would say the mastermind.
Complimenti, chef.
Exactly.
Complimenti. Buonissimo.
No. No. This is what is left.
Yummy.
A tutto Crostino oggi. So, we done with this recipe. Thank you so much for watching us.
So it's a pleasure. I hope it was a pleasure.
It's very nice to do this with you, especially because right now you can't be here in Florence. So that's why we have a camera and we're trying to be alive and then, you know, make your company a little bit. But we're sure you're gonna come back. And when they're gonna come back, we're gonna be here, all right? And you can try to do and eat with us. Because this is beautiful, it's very tasty, but we're missing you guys. So come back and we'll be here. Vero, Mamma?
Oh, we'll be here. Saremo qua a Firenze,
So,
waiting for you.
salutiamo tutti.
Ciao.
Thank you so much. Sorry for the little interruptions, it happens. And see you soon, ci vediamo presto.
A presto.
Ciao.
Un bacione da Firenze.
Bacione.
Ciao.
Vai, alla prossima.